Hey, listen, are you planning on taking the PSI real estate exam? Well, check this out. In this video, I'm gonna go over 25 questions with you for free, huh? How you like them apples? We're gonna go over it together. 25 questions, you and me. Let's get started. All right, let's get straight to the first question. Of all the following approaches to assess value that are available to appraisers, which method is most commonly used by real estate licensees and brokers? A, cost approach. B, market data approach. C, replacement cost. Or D, square footage approach? Great question. And the answer is B. B as in boy. The market data approach. Let's go straight to the explanation. Let's understand the answer. The market data or comparison approach is the most widely used by real estate agents and brokers to arrive at the value of a property. Very common. In fact, it's used 99.999% of the time when it comes to selling or listing residential property. The market data, more commonly known as the comparison approach. We're comparing one property to another. Boom, nice. Next question. What is the best way to describe a fee simple estate? What is the best way to describe a fee simple estate? A, title held by the owner with limitations. B, an estate for years. C, the highest interest someone can have in real property. Or D, a life estate. The answer is C. Fee simple is the highest interest that someone can have in real property. Got that? Fee simple means you have complete ownership of the property, and you can do what you want with it as far as giving it away, willing it away, selling it, gifting it. It's a great type of estate. A fee simple estate, fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. The right to possess, use, transfer, enjoy, and dispose of something describes which of the following? The right to possess, use, transfer, enjoy, and dispose of something describes A, an encumbrance. B, real property. C, water rights. Or D, ownership? Great question. And the answer is, drum roll please. Yeah, the answer is D. D as in dog, ownership. Explanation, ownership can apply to real property and personal property, which means you have the right to possess it, use it, transfer it, enjoy it, and dispose of it. That's called the bundle of rights. When you have ownership, it's the bundle of rights. You have the right to use it, possess it, transfer it. You have the right to encumber it if you want. You have the right to enjoy it. That's what we call the bundle of rights, and that belongs with ownership. Got it? Great. Let's keep on moving to the next one. When a governmental entity takes private property for public use and pays the owner just compensation, meaning fair compensation, fair market value, which of the following terms describes that event? So you got the governmental agency coming over and saying, hey, all you homeowners here, we'll have to demolish your houses. We'll pay you fair market value for your houses because we want to widen the freeway, and the freeway's going to go right through here. And your home happens to be in the way. What do we call this? So this is a great simple question that you're definitely going to see on your exam. Is it called a voluntary sale? Is it called physical obsolescence? Involuntary conversion? Or is it involuntary zoning? Now the answer to this is C, involuntary conversion, better known as what? I bet you know this, better known as eminent domain. Remember that? Eminent domain. Taking private property for the use of, for public use. When the government comes and says, hey, we're going to take down your house, we need it, we're going to buy it off of you, whether you like it or not, because we want to widen the freeway. Eminent domain, also known as involuntary conversion. Let's go straight to the explanation. When eminent domain occurs, the property is converted into money, the government's compensation to the owner, without the owner's consent or initiative, thus making it an involuntary conversion. Next question. What would be used to transfer the title of personal property? What would be used to transfer the title of personal property? So in this case, we have to know the difference between personal property and real property. What do we use for personal property? A mortgage. B, a note. C, bill of sale. Or D, an encumbrance. The answer to this question is, yeah, you guessed it, C, bill of sale. A bill of sale is used to transfer ownership of personal property. There you have it. Fantastic. Let's go on to the next question. Hey, listen, I want to take a break right now, but I don't want you to go anywhere. What I want to do is this. I want to share with you some great news. And the great news is this. Our goal is to get you to pass that state exam the very first time. Get your license and take off running. But this is the deal. We have two great resources that I want you to take a look at, and it's in the link below. The first one is the State Exam Prep Package. Now, what the hell is that? The State Exam Prep Package has flashcards, has unlimited practice state exam questions. Are you kidding me? You can go over them over and over and over again at your own pace. That's perfect. What else do you want? And flashcards? If there's a vocabulary word that you don't understand, go to the flashcards. It'll explain everything. The other thing that we have that I want you to remember, and check out the link below, is our brand new crash course videos. Crash course videos of me, me, right in front of you for 8 hours. It's an 8-hour package of videos of me explaining to you test-taking strategies, vocabulary words. We're talking from principles to practice to finance, you name it, I'm going to explain it to you. How? Crystal clear, that's how. I'm going to make sure that you are not confused with anything in the real estate world. Again, both of those packages are in the link below. Click on it, check it out. And one last thing, I want you to understand that we have a beautiful mobile app, which means you can use those two products, man. Those two products. I'm talking the state exam prep and the crash course videos on your phone. Man, what else do you want? It's beautiful. Again, our goal is the same as yours, to get you to pass the very first time. Come on, lighten up. Let's do this together. Let's move on to the next question. A real estate agent has a listing for 6% of the selling price of $850,000. The seller incurred additional closing costs of $13,200. Based on the information given, what is the seller's total cost for the sale of his property? Now, this is a math question. We have to calculate a little bit here. But listen, pump the brakes, lighten up. We're going to do fine on this one. We have basic information here that you can calculate this sometimes just straight in your head. If not, on a scratched piece of paper, who knows? Here we go. Is the answer, there's not enough information given? B, 51,000. C, 64,200. Or D, 13,200. The answer is, yeah, C, 64,200. So why is it 64,200? Well, let's go straight to the explanation. It'll be crystal clear in a second. Well, we got the listing for $850,000. Check out the explanation there. If the realtor is charging 6%, well, 6% of $850,000 is what? Yeah, $51,000 as listed right there. That's just for the selling commission. $51,000. On top of that, we're told, based on the question, that there's an additional cost that the seller will be paying, totaling $13,200. Put those two together, and you get a grand total of $64,200. Total expense of the sale for the seller. Got it? You can do this. You can do this. My recommendation, if you do get a calculation question and it just becomes much too difficult, you might want to skip it and come back to it if you have time at the end of your test. And then attack it. If it's simple, something like this, go for it. You can do this. Let's go to the next question. How do you calculate a capitalization rate, a cap rate? Typically done in the commercial world. A, total income minus liabilities of a subject property. B, net income of a subject property divided by current market value of the same subject property. C, total income of a subject property divided by current market value of the same subject property. Or D, net income plus liabilities of a subject property? The answer is, wait for it, B. B as in boy. Net income of a subject property divided by current market value of the same subject property. Let's go straight to the explanation so we can better understand this. To calculate a capitalization rate, you define the net income of a subject property divided by the current market value of the same subject property. This ratio is usually expressed as a percentage. It is an important value for a real estate investor to estimate the potential return on their investment property. For example, if a property's current market value is $1 million, right? And the net income that this property is generating is $80,000 a year, then the cap rate equals 8%. How did we get 8%? Well, you take the $80,000 and divide it by $1 million. That equals 0.08, which is equivalent to the answer, 8%. Got it? So the answer here is B, net income of a subject property divided by current market value of the same subject property. Josh has an apartment building and the original cost basis was $100,000. The fair market value has increased to $350,000. Josh exchanged the property for another property with a fair market value of $400,000. All of the transactions were free and clear and no adjustments were made for the differences in value. What would the new tax basis be for Josh for tax purposes? A, $100,000, B, $350,000, C, $50,000, or D, $400,000? The answer is A, $100,000. So how did we get to $100,000? Let's go to the explanation. For exchange properties, which is exactly what happened here, he was exchanging one property for another. For exchange properties, the original cost basis of the surrendered property becomes the cost basis for the new property. And don't forget, according to the question, that cost basis was $100,000. If there is no adjustment for the difference in value. Got it? Fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. This type of listing includes the additional element of offering the broker an option to buy the listed property at a predetermined price if the property does not sell during the listing period. What a great option for the listing agent or the broker, right? If the property doesn't sell, the seller's saying, well, if it doesn't sell, hey broker, hey real estate agent, how about if you purchase it for this amount? That's what it's basically asking. Let's read that one more time. This type of listing includes the additional element of offering the broker an option to buy the listed property at a predetermined price if the property does not sell during the listing period. What is that called? A, option combined with the listing. B, exclusive agency listing. C, buyer listing. Or D, open listing. The answer to that question is A, option combined with a listing. Explanation: an option listing includes a grant to the broker of an option to buy the property at a predetermined price if the property does not sell during the listing period. It gives them the opportunity to buy the property. It gives the listing agent or the broker saying, you know what, if it doesn't sell, I'll buy it at this price though. This effectively makes the agent both an agent for the seller as well as a buyer. Under the law, however, a listing broker who has an option listing is prohibited from profiting at the expense of the owner. There you have it. It's an option combined with the listing. Next question. What is the major cause of a loss of value when we are referring to real property? A, exterior deterioration. B, deferred maintenance. C, a roof that needs to be replaced. Or D, both functional and economic obsolescence. Let's go back to the question again so we understand it. What is the major cause of loss of value when we are referring to real property? Exterior deterioration, deferred maintenance, a roof that needs to be replaced, or both functional and economic obsolescence? The answer to this one is, D, both functional and economic obsolescence. So what is functional and economic obsolescence? Well, functional obsolescence is problems within the house. Economic obsolescence is problems outside the house, in society, in the neighborhood, the crime, the political leadership, the lack of. Both of those combined together brings down value of a property. Internal factors and external factors. Let's go straight to the explanation. Obsolescence within itself includes functional and economic obsolescence. These alone will cause the value of the property to go down more than physical deterioration or deferred maintenance ever would. What is the acreage in the parcel of land described as east 1/2 of the south 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 of section 5? Now this is going to be a calculation problem, small math problem. I don't want you to be afraid or be intimidated by questions like this. This one's rather simple. Why? Because it's giving us section 5. And section 5, based on this question, means one section. Section number 5. And we already know that one section is equivalent to what? Yeah, 640 acres. By knowing that one section is 640 acres, we could do this problem. Got it? Let's see what we got here. 20 acres, 40 acres, 30 acres, or 10 acres? The answer is 20 acres. Now, why is it 20 acres? Let's go straight to the explanation and go through this nice and slow. In order to calculate the acreage in this question, you must complete the following steps. Step 1, we know section 5 equals 640 acres. Got it? Step 2, the first thing they're asking us to provide them is the east 1/2. So we want 1/2 of this section. 1/2. Well, 1/2 of 640 is what? Yeah, we'll divide that by 2. We're going to come up with 320 acres. Got it? Step 3, we got to find the south 1/4. So now we're looking at 1/4, 1/4. 1/4 of the 320 is what? Well, yeah, you divide 320 by 4 and you get 80 acres. We're not done. We got one more step. They're asking us to give them, of that portion, they're asking us to give them the southwest 1/4. So we get that 80 acres, which was left, and we divide that by 4. And what do you get? Yeah, you get 20. And there's your answer, 20. But it all started with what? With the one section. We know that one section is what? Yeah, 640 acres. After that, we chop it down, chop it down, chop it down until we get to our final instruction, which is, in this case, the southwest 1/4. Let's go to the next question here. A new home is being built and the lot is 10,000 square feet. As completion of the home was nearing, the city embarked on an ambitious project to make the single lane road into 2 lanes in both directions, which removed 12% from the side square footage of the property and changed the property lot size of the property to only 8,800 square feet. Due to this change, the value of the property dropped about 15%. This would be an example of what type of depreciation? Another fantastic question. This question is asking us to be familiar with obsolescence and what type of obsolescence specifically. A, functional obsolescence. B, physical deterioration. C, social obsolescence. Or D, economic obsolescence. Which one do you think is the answer? The answer is D, economic obsolescence. You guessed it. Explanation. This situation was created by the city government, which caused the loss of value for the property, known as economic obsolescence. Social obsolescence got nothing to do with it. Physical deterioration has to do with the property itself. Functional obsolescence has something to do with the property itself. In this particular case, economic obsolescence, based on the question, it's exactly what it is. Let's move on to the next one. When coming up with a value on a piece of vacant land, what is the first thing that should be determined? We want to know how much a piece of land, back in my day we used to call it dirt. How much is that dirt worth? What's the value of that land? What's the first thing that should be determined? A, highest and best use of the land. B, comparable property prices. C, when the land was purchased, or D, the listing price of the property? The answer will be A, the highest and best use of the land. Explanation. The appraiser will first determine the highest and best use of the land when appraising vacant land. And it makes sense. If the land is zoned for a particular reason and it can create revenue, it's going to be worth a lot more than a piece of land that can only be used for agricultural. So all that they take into consideration. The answer to this one is, when it comes to vacant land or dirt, what I like to call, first thing we want to understand is the highest and best use of that land. Let's move on. What would provide an investor the best protection against inflation? What would provide an investor the best protection against inflation? A, savings account. B, ownership of real property. C, real property secured by a note. Or D, mutual funds. The answer to that is B, ownership of real property. Now why? Let's take a look at that explanation there. Real property increases in value during a period of inflation. There you have it. Let's move on to the next question. Accretion results in the acquisition of title. How? Ooh, this is a good question. I like this question. Accretion results in the acquisition of title. How? A, eminent domain. B, adverse possession. C, the owner acquires land by natural causes. Or D, none of the above. The answer is C, the owner acquires land by natural causes. What am I talking about? Well, let's go to that explanation there. Accretion is the acquisition of title by it being added to other real property by natural causes. For example, here it comes. This should make it crystal clear. A flowing river depositing soil on another's property and building out the land. Makes sense. There you have it. The owner acquires land by natural causes. A joint tenant can dispose of interest in real property by all of the following except one of these next answers does not belong there. Which one does not belong there? A, mutual agreement. B, lease. C, will. Or D, sale. It's a great question when it comes to joint tenancy. The answer to that question is C, will. Now, why is it will? Well, let's take a look at that explanation here. When holding a title under joint tenancy, right of survivorship, the interest of the owners cannot be willed. When an owner passes away, their interest terminates and is given to the surviving members on the deed. So in this case, I'll give you an example of a particular party. We'll say a party of four buys a property under joint tenancy right of survivorship. Those four have equal amount of ownership in it, 25%, 25%, 25%, and the fourth, of course, 25%. When one of them passes away, their 25% goes to the remaining three, which now makes it 33%, 33%, 33%. And then when another one of them passes, it goes on to the surviving members, which is only two, which now makes it 50%, 50%. So during the duration of that ownership amongst those four, they can't will it away because it's going to go to the remaining survivors as one passes after the other eventually. Joint tenancy right of survivorship. Let's go on to the next question. A licensee is filling in a purchase agreement. A licensee meaning a real estate agent. A licensee is filling in a purchase agreement and identifies the buyers and designates how title will be vested without proper instruction. The licensee may be A, giving evidence of discrimination. B, giving legal advice. C, giving tax advice. Or D, all of the above. The answer to this is all of the above. Explanation. The way people take and vest title may have tax consequences and may be discriminatory due to the selection of gender on the vesting form. This may also be evidence of providing legal advice. And there you have it. What is the answer? All of these. Let's keep going. The recording of an instrument gives, this is a good question. This question is regarding recording of a property. Recording at the county recorder's office. Recording. The recording of an instrument gives A, actual notice, B, passive notice, C, constructive notice, or D, absolute notice. The answer is C, constructive notice. Explanation on this one: constructive notice is given by taking physical possession or by recording an instrument. That is called constructive notice when it comes to recording a property and putting it in a brand new owner's name. All right, here we go with the next question. If a person dies and they do not have a will or heirs, how could the state acquire title to their real property? Oh, this is a very interesting question. Somebody passes away, they didn't leave a will, they don't have any heirs, but they have property. Well, who takes the property? What happens here? How could the state acquire title to that property? A, through escheat, B, through the health code, C, through zoning, or D, through police power. The answer to this one is, yeah, you guessed it, escheat. Through escheat. Let's go to the explanation. When a property has no heirs, it will be escheated to the state after waiting 5 years. When using the capitalization approach on an income-producing property, if the property tax goes down and all else remains the same, the property value will A, increase more than the amount of the annual tax decrease, B, decrease more than the amount of the tax increase, C, decrease an amount equal to the tax increase, or D, increase a percentage of the amount of the tax increase. The answer to this question is A, increase more than the amount of the annual tax decrease. Now why? Well, let's take a look at that explanation there. The value would increase more than the amount of annual taxes because the capitalization rate is a multiplying factor. For example, if the annual tax decreased by $100, your expenses would decrease by $100. So if the investor used a 10% capitalization rate, the property value would increase by $1,000. There you have it. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's the question. After the public records are searched on a real property, a document is written providing information regarding the findings from that search. This is known as A, certificate of title, B, an abstract of title, C, a general index, or D, a guarantee of title. The answer is B, an abstract of title. Explanation: an abstract of title is a summary of the information searched in public records. It provides information on the chain of title. Got it? Fantastic. Let's go to the next one. What is the most challenging type of depreciation to remedy? A, economic obsolescence, B, physical obsolescence, C, functional obsolescence, or D, straight line depreciation? This is a fantastic question. I know you know this. Let's try it again. What is the most challenging type of depreciation to remedy? Economic obsolescence, physical depreciation, functional obsolescence, or straight line depreciation? The answer is, drum roll please. Yeah, A, economic obsolescence. So why is it economic obsolescence? Why is it that the most difficult type of obsolescence to remedy? Well, according to the explanation, economic obsolescence is considered the most challenging to cure because these are negative impacts that are occurring outside of the property. Great explanation. When it comes to our personal properties, our homes, we can fix physical deterioration. We could fix functional obsolescence in our properties, in our homes. But we can't really fix anything out in the environment, out in the community, out in the government. That's outside of our home, outside of our control. And that's the hardest type of obsolescence to remedy. So the answer here is straight shot, economic obsolescence. Which of the following is not an example of economic obsolescence that would cause an apartment complex to suffer. Now, you know what economic obsolescence is. We just discussed it. Which of the following is not an example of economic obsolescence? A, the airport has expanded and now the new runway puts the flight path of planes directly over the apartment building, creating a noise nuisance. Which of these is not? B, the crime in the neighborhood has increased substantially over the last 5 years. Is not. Don't forget the question. C, the major retailer of thriving sporting goods store has closed down and moved to a shopping center outside of town. Or D, the major mechanical systems of the property have failed and are in need of replacement. Which one of these is not economic obsolescence? The answer is, of course, D. The major mechanical systems of the property have failed. Why? Because it's inside the property. Economic obsolescence, outside of the property. Anything that affects the value of the property that is not within the property but outside. Explanation. When the mechanical systems of the property begin to fail, it is considered physical deterioration, not economic obsolescence. A negative influence on the property value from an outside source is what economic obsolescence is. All right, good. Let's keep on going. Question, is it acceptable to use the address 15001 Riverway as a legal description for a property in a real estate transaction? A, it is acceptable, but title insurance companies may choose not to insure the property. B, it is acceptable, flat out. No other questions asked. C, a street address is not considered a legal description of the property. Or D, it is acceptable, however, getting a loan for the property may be challenging. The answer to this question is, yeah, you guessed it, C. A street address is not considered a legal description of the property. Let's go to the explanation. A street address is not considered a legal description of a property. It gets more specific than that. We also use APN numbers, assessor's parcel numbers. We use descriptions where it tells us on a plat map exactly where this property is located. But a street address, not enough information. Let's move on to the next one. All right, here we go. The grand finale, the big kahuna. No, the big what? Kahuna? The big kahuna, the big enchilada. Let's finish off strong. Hope you enjoy these questions. We got plenty more in our state exam prep package, which is in the link below. We have a fantastic crash course also. Let's get to this question before I get too excited. When comparing the economic and physical life of an improvement, the economic life is usually blank than the physical life. Oh, that's a nice question. A fill in the blank question. When comparing the economic and physical life of an improvement, the economic life is usually blank than the physical life. A, equal to the physical life, better than the physical life, depends on what the improvement is, or shorter than the physical life. The answer to that is shorter. The economic life is usually shorter than the physical life. Let's go straight to the explanation. The economic life is typically shorter. The life of an economic period is when the improvement will show a return on the investment. A building's rentability and use will usually last much, much longer. And there you have it. 25 questions from U.S. Realty Training. You're welcome. Hey, so there you have it. 25 questions. What else do you want? You want me to give you another 100? Ain't gonna happen, but I got an idea. I got a great idea. We have an incredible state exam prep package that's an excellent product for you. And we have a video crash course that we just created. It's amazing. It's me, myself, providing you with all the education you need to pass that real estate exam when? Yeah, the very first time. Don't miss it. It's right there along with our mobile app. You can't miss both items. Good luck to you. Wishing you all the best. I'm rooting for you.